Vanessa Whitmore thought her upscale cafe in suburban Denver made her untouchable. She thought she could humiliate struggling mothers without consequence. She thought no one would dare challenge her in front of her wealthy customers. She was wrong, fatally wrong. What she did to Jennifer Carter and her 6-year-old son Tyler in that cafe would haunt her forever, not because of what she did, but because of who was sitting at the corner table. Someone who knew that pain. Someone who had lost everything. Someone who understood what it meant to raise children alone. And when Marcus Williams heard what was happening, something broke inside him. Something that had been holding back 2 years of rage and grief. This is what happened next. The Daily Grind upscale cafe in suburban Denver on a gray Tuesday afternoon at 2:15 p.m. Exposed brick walls with modern minimalist decor, expensive espresso machines gleaming behind counter, Edison bulbs creating trendy ambience, reclaimed wood tables with MacBooks and designer bags, chalkboard menu advertising $8 lattes and $14 avocado toast, large windows showing overcast Colorado sky, well-dressed customers in business casual and athleisure, NPR playing softly, atmosphere of comfortable American privilege. Jennifer Carter stood at the counter, a frighteningly thin woman in an oversized gray cardigan, trying to find the courage to ask for help. She was literally starving. Hadn't eaten in 3 days. Could barely stand without getting dizzy. But she had to keep going. For Tyler. 6-year-old Tyler stood next to her clutching his toy car, his worried hazel eyes constantly watching his mother with concern that no child should have to feel. The boy was thin too, starting to show the early signs of malnutrition in his bony arms and sunken cheeks. He didn't understand why Daddy wasn't coming home. Didn't understand why they had no money for food. But he understood one thing with painful clarity. Mommy was disappearing, getting thinner, weaker, and it was because she gave him every bit of food they had. Jennifer was trying to ask the cafe owner if there was any way at all, she could work a few hours cleaning or washing dishes in exchange for just a sandwich for Tyler. Just one sandwich. He hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. Her hands shook as she spoke. Her voice cracked with humiliation. This was her last hope. Her last attempt to feed her son before she passed out from hunger. She didn't know that in 30 seconds, her life would change forever, but not in the way she hoped. That's when Vanessa Whitmore looked up from her expensive espresso machine with cold gray eyes filled with judgment and contempt. She didn't see a grieving widow. She didn't see a starving child. She saw an inconvenience. She saw someone who didn't belong in her upscale establishment. Someone she could dismiss without consequence. She refused loudly. Loud enough for everyone to hear. Said she didn't run a charity. Made cruel comments about people who have kids they can't afford to feed. Asked Jennifer if she'd thought about that before having children. Her voice dripped with disdain as she gestured around at her wealthy customers, as if to say, "We don't want your kind here." Jennifer's face crumbled. Her skeletal hand gripped the counter for support. Tyler tugged on her cardigan, his small voice cutting through the cafe's NPR soundtrack. Tyler tried to help his mommy. Tried to explain to the mean lady. He said that mommy hadn't eaten in 3 days. That mommy always gave him her food. That mommy said she wasn't hungry, but he knew she was lying because her stomach made noises at night in their car. The cafe went silent. Every MacBook stopped typing. Every latte remained untouched. Because a 6-year-old had just revealed the truth these comfortable people didn't want to see. There was a mother starving herself so her child could eat. And everyone had just watched her get humiliated for it. Vanessa's expression didn't soften. It hardened. She called Jennifer an irresponsible parent. Told them to leave before she called the police for loitering. Made a show of reaching for her phone. Jennifer couldn't even respond. Could only grab Tyler's hand and turn toward the door, with tears streaming down her gaunt face. Tyler was crying now too, clutching his toy car. not understanding why the lady was so mean when mommy just wanted food for him. The wealthy customers watched. Some looked uncomfortable. Others went back to their laptops. No one moved. This is America in 2025. We post about social justice online. But when it's standing in front of us, we do nothing. That's when Tyler looked back at the cafe and said something that made several customers freeze. He said he wished his daddy was still alive because daddy would know how to make mommy eat again. Because daddy always made everything better before the car crash took him away. And at a corner table, someone stood up. Someone who understood that exact pain. Someone who knew what it meant to lose a spouse and raise children alone in a world that didn't care. Jennifer had almost reached the door when she stumbled. Her body was shutting down from starvation. Tyler tried to hold her up. This tiny 6-year-old trying to support his collapsing mother, crying and asking her to please not fall. Please not die like Daddy did in that moment. Jennifer felt completely alone in America. Like God had forgotten her. Like no one in this entire country cared if she and Tyler lived or died. Like these people, in their designer clothes sipping $8 lattes, would rather watch her collapse than offer $1 for food. She had never felt so helpless, so broken, so utterly erased from humanity. But she was wrong about being alone, because someone did care. And he was already crossing the café. If watching this injustice breaks your heart, if you believe no mother in America should have to starve herself to feed her child, please like this video and subscribe, because what happens next will restore your faith that good people still exist in this country. Marcus Williams had been sitting at the corner table finishing paperwork for an electrical job. He had seen everything. Every cruel word, every dismissive gesture, every tear on that child's face. And it destroyed him, because 2 years ago, he had lost his wife Rachel. She had died giving birth to their son Jordan. Died bringing life into the world while he stood there helpless, watching the monitors flatline, hearing their newborn's first cry mixed with his own screaming as doctors told him she was gone. He had felt that same helplessness, that same rage at a world that took good people too soon, that same desperate wish that anyone would have helped him when Rachel was dying and he was alone and terrified. He looked down at the hospital bracelet on his wrist. Rachel's name was still visible on the faded plastic. The bracelet from the day she died. The day his world ended and his new impossible life as a single father began. He couldn't save Rachel, but he could save them. His work boots crossed the hardwood floor. The Edison bulbs caught the electrical tape marks on his uniform. The comfortable customers noticed this working-class black man in a work uniform approaching. Some looked nervous. Others judgmental. They didn't know what they were witnessing. Vanessa was still behind the counter with her phone out, still making threats about calling police. Still completely unaware that she'd just made the biggest mistake of her life. Until Marcus's shadow fell across her expensive marble countertop. And suddenly, the entire cafe went dead silent. Vanessa looked up, and her contemptuous expression faltered, because Marcus wasn't intimidated by her wealth, wasn't impressed by her designer clothes or her upscale cafe. He saw exactly what she was, a bully. Someone who used money as a weapon against the vulnerable. His eyes held 2 years of grief. Of single parenthood, of knowing exactly what Jennifer was going through, of understanding what it meant to be alone and desperate and judged by people who had never suffered. He didn't raise his voice, didn't need to. He simply placed $500 bills on her marble counter, told her in a quiet voice that carried through the silent cafe that he was buying every sandwich she had, every pastry, every scrap of food in her establishment, and that Jennifer and Tyler would eat first. And if she had a problem with that, they could discuss it outside where there were no cameras. Vanessa's face went white, then red. Her hands trembled as she looked at the money, looked at Marcus. looked at the customers all watching now with phones out recording. She realized in that moment that she'd been caught, that her cruelty had been witnessed, that this would be on social media within minutes. She mumbled something about a misunderstanding. Marcus ignored her. He turned to Jennifer, who had collapsed into a chair, Tyler in her lap, both of them staring at him in complete shock. Then Marcus knelt down in front of Tyler, and he did something that made every single person in that cafe start crying. Something none of them would ever forget. Marcus pulled out his wallet and showed Tyler the photo inside. His own kids, 7-year-old Maya and 2-year-old Jordan. He told Tyler through the tightness in his throat that he understood, that his wife died too, that he raises his kids alone just like Tyler's mommy was trying to do, that his wife Rachel would be so angry at him if he didn't help, that nobody helped him when Rachel was dying and he couldn't let that happen to someone else. He told Jennifer she was going to eat, right now, all of the food he just bought, and then he was taking her to the grocery store and filling a cart. And then they were going to talk about the bookkeeping position that just opened up at his electrical company because he knew she used to work at a bank. He pulled out his phone and showed Jennifer his employee portal, showed her the job posting, told her the salary $48,000 a year with health insurance, told her she could bring Tyler to the office after school because that's what he did with his kids, that his wife would have wanted him to help a widowed mother, that they were going to be okay now. Tyler looked up at Marcus with those worried hazel eyes, and he asked in his small voice if Marcus was sure. If Mommy could really eat now, if they wouldn't have to sleep in the car anymore, if maybe Mommy would stop getting smaller. Marcus's eyes filled with tears, because this child was carrying weight no 6-year-old should carry, watching his mother starve, living with the terror that she might die too and leave him completely alone. And in that moment, Marcus realized something his therapist had been trying to tell him for 2 years. Helping them was helping him heal too. 4 months later, Jennifer was the office manager at Williams Electric. Healthy weight restored, smile returned. Tyler and Marcus's daughter Maya were best friends. They had Sunday dinners together. 2 families broken by loss who found each other and became something new. Jennifer laughed again for the first time since David died. Tyler was just a kid again, not a worried caretaker. And Marcus, he found something he thought died with Rachel, the ability to help someone else heal. Because sometimes the people we save are the ones who save us back. Sometimes the family we choose matters more than the family we lost. And sometimes, in a country that feels more divided and cold every day, one moment of courage in an upscale Denver cafe can change 3 lives forever, can remind us that Americans still help Americans, that good people still exist behind the designer coffee bars and in the work trucks, that we're not as alone as we think. What would you have done if you witnessed this injustice in your local cafe? Would you have looked away like everyone else, or would you have stood up? Comment below and share this story with someone who needs to believe that everyday heroes still exist in America.